Hey, Woody. All right. So here we go. Happy September 1st, everybody. As kids prepare to head back to school, we got at least got like three stories for you tonight to go through. So without no further ado, get ready because we're about to take it to the mic stand. So actually, before I even get to the story, in fact, how you doing tonight, Woody? How'd your day go today? Have anything you want to share before we get into the first story here? Fine, not really. Fine, not really. Okay. All right. Well, then, without no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the first story. Then, hopefully, people will come in soon. Yeah. So here we go. So the first story we're going to talk about tonight, I kind of alluded to this last night. Kind of, you know, mentioned this last night as well because I know Hero Hey talked about this a bit yesterday. Cartoon Network's Toonami runs new bumper supporting Black Lives Matter. Cartoon Network's late night action block, Toonami, has recently produced a new bumper featuring their iconic mascot Tom voicing support for the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, in case you didn't know of course, who voices Tom, that's Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom, the same Steve Bloom who is known for providing the English voices, including providing English voices for a number of LA produced dubs, which include Orochimaru from Naruto, Roger Smith from Big O. Um, let's see, I know he was in Samurai Champ. It was Mugen from Samurai Champloo. So there's so that should give you a little bit more of a. Okay, so on August 29th, Tom took to the screen and informed viewers that uh, there's been a lot of talk about race lately. Tom then asserted that statements such as "I don't see color," "racism isn't real anymore," and "all lives matter" were actually harmful and steer away from the bigger issue: racism still exists. Personally, I don't. It exists, but it doesn't exist to the extent that they want everybody to believe. That's my personal take on that. You can watch the entire clip below. Um, I know Hero Hayes showed portions of the clip. I don't know if you saw it for any of those who may have seen watched Tsunami Saturday night. Who may have seen that clip, but but anyways, I'm not gonna risk copy. I'm not gonna risk any kind of copyright thing, even though I'm not even a monetized channel by playing the clip. But it's apparently on YouTube. The title of it is Tsunami Black Lives Matter speech. If you want to go check it out yourself, you can do so. Let's see. As this is said, images of unity, teamwork, and perseverance on various Cartoon Network aired series appear. Shows such as Dragon Ball Super, Samurai Jack, Naruto, and Ball Masters 9000 flashed across the screen, While this is going on, Tom informs the viewers that it's up to all of us to recognize that and take action. Um, yeah, take that for what it's worth. To that end, Tom states that viewers who have thought maybe but not me are in fact racist and have some truth to uncover. For fans who thought this isn't why I watch Toonami, Tom informed them to think again. Um, no, that is why people watch Toonami. People don't want to be lectured to when they're watching their escapism. You take that kind of attitude, people will most definitely turn you off. Etch. Okay, you want to expound on that a little bit, Woody Milton? Because I don't know what that's supposed to mean there when you're saying etch or itch. Um, can you expound on that a little bit? Can I comment a little bit? Because I don't understand what you mean by etch. One watching there. Oh, oh, did he leave? All right. Well, continuing on since I've already started the special bump ends with Tom asking viewers to think about how you can be a part of an honest conversation about racism because Black Lives Matter and will always matter. Well, all lives will always matter. So on Twitter, Adult Swim SVP creative director and Toonami co-creator Jason DeMarco explained the bumper. In a series of tweets, Jason DeMarco first thanked those who reached out to say it meant something to you. I'm really glad it did. Um, and there's the there's kind of the tweet with the accompanying. DeMarco went on to give some background behind the clip for the program, saying this piece came together because a group of Toonami staff came to me and asked, "Are we going to address this clearly?" I agreed with them that we should. That this piece was produced, co-written, and edited by our black staff members. The all did they all did an amazing job. Okay. Now, for those of you who may not realize this or know this, of course, unfortunately, Cartoon Network is a left leaning um, entity. So, of course, they're going to try to shove it down your throat. So, in the following tweet, Jason DeMarco said, "Special shout out to Stuart Gill, who wrote the backbone and shepherded it home as well. I work with some very good people, and I hope you felt our sincerity, even if it made you uncomfortable. Thanks for watching, as always." Yeah, well, you know what they've been saying: get woke. Go broke. Finally, in conclusion, DeMarco said, we at Toonami know we can only do so much with our platform, but we wanted to be clear what our little block stands for. Equality, compassion, love, and strength are at the core of so much of our programming and at the core of the message we want Toonami to deliver. Again, though, people don't really need to be lectured to about this. Um, People don't want to be lectured to in their entertainment, in their escapism. Um, this, in my opinion, this is not needed or necessary, and this is going to be like a major turnoff to people. Um, Toonami currently airs on Saturday nights as part of Adult Swim programming block on Cartoon Network. What do you make of Toonami's message? All Toonami viewers unconscious racist? Let us let us know on social media or the comments below. Well, personally, I don't feel that people are unconsciously racist, and to basically cast your fans as such is going to turn them away. It's going to be one of those get woke, go broke. People don't watch Toonami to be lectured to. They don't watch Toonami to be lectured to. They don't watch Toonami to be called a racist. Okay, we have three people in here now. Goody. Okay, so I just went over an article from Bounding into Comics, guys. For those of you who just came in, um, and I kind of mentioned the situation last night as well. For those who just came in who are listening right now, so over the weekend, Toonami ran a bumper on their site, um, kind of promoting the Black Lives Matter movement. I know Hero mentioned it a little bit. I know that Troy Bounty Hunters also covered it a bit. Since Bounding into Comics wrote an article on it, I just went over the article. Um, I think the Matter movement itself, personally, I think it is a racist and terrorist movement. Okay, there may be people who do want to legitimately try to you know, solve the issues there with with solve some of those issues like with police brutality but the movement has become a racist and terrorist organization. Okay, it's one thing to peacefully protest, but it's another to riot and loot. Okay, it's another issue to riot and loot. And for okay, like you came back there, Woody. Let's see. The movement is guaranteeing people will think in racial terms for decades. I agree, Mike. Yeah, I mean, okay. Here's Woody. Here's something that I think people don't understand at the very basic level of things here. Okay, the suffix "ist" or "ism." Okay, the suffix is "ist" and "ism." Whether it's racism, ableism, whatever. They are very divisive, um, divisive parts of speech. They are setting one group aside from everybody else, whether for good or ill. And that is unfortunately not how we should be thinking. ultimately what it should come back to is everybody should treat each other as they would want to be treated. Shouldn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, European, whatever, gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, transgender. You should ultimately treat each other as you would want to be treated. And to set one group apart from the other, whether it be for good or ill, is wrong. Okay? This whole victim mentality by many people in Black Lives Matter is wrong. Okay? Everybody has difficulties that they must get through. Crying about it doesn't do anybody any good. In fact, it's kind of funny because if anything, these protests have actually made things worse, not better. A lot of people who support Black Lives Matter, say, well, we're trying to save, black lives, but more black people are getting killed for it because you have many in the movement who are behaving badly, and nobody within the movement is calling them out on their bad behavior. And therefore, the underlying message there is lost. Okay. I know of some people, like somebody that I knew that I had to unfortunately separate myself from, in terms of parting ways with them. They made a statement in one of their Facebook posts where they went, you know, well, the people who are saying they want to get back to normal, maybe they need to be inconvenienced. That's not a statement seeking justice. That's not a statement seeking to solve the problem. That's a statement seeking vengeance. And that is wrong. People are not going to be, if you're going to continue to riot and loot, and people within the movement are not going to call that bad behavior out, whatever sympathy you thought you had, you lost. If you're condoning looting and rioting, then you lost. Hey, ATC, these groups are, yes, they are. You know, I let off tonight's thing because Bounding into Comics finally did, and I mentioned, and I talked about this a little bit last night because I know Hero Hay and Toy Bounty Hunters also covered this, that bumper that Toonami did over the weekend. I know I talked about it last night as well. That bumper in regards to supporting Black Lives Matter. You know, as I was just saying, um, for those who are supporting the movement, if you are not calling out the bad behavior of those in the movement, in other words, if you are condoning the rioting and looting, you're part of the problem, and nobody's going to listen to you as long as you continue to behave badly and condone that bad behavior. See, I've been here 30 minutes before the streams. I didn't see that you were here. What happened? Because I wasn't aware. You didn't say anything. Um, But again, and normally normally of course I try not to get too much into the political because you guys can already tell I'm getting a little talking about this. I'm a little agitated. I'm a little agitated at this. And I honestly don't want to have this kind of drama on my channel. I want my stream. I want people to be informed on niche stuff, and I do have a couple other stories that are probably a little bit more neutral. Not as heated as this, but um, it was still something that needed to be covered. Obviously, okay, lurking. Okay, you know, I know that when Toy Bounty Hunters was covering it last night, he was even suggesting that people have actually started stop watching um Toonami, due in part to the fact of the push by many in the VA. Now, mind you, not every VA is left leaning. Okay, there are some who either are just simply neutral or even maybe even to the right a little bit. But many of them within that community, unfortunately, are they believe the propaganda here and would accept the rioting and looting as justice, and that is wrong. Anyways, so I've spent quite a we're actually coming up on the 30, we're 22 and change here. So I think I've spent enough time. I think I've made the main points I wanted to make in regards to the whole situation there. As I said, I don't want to stay too give this issue too much time on here just because I wanted more to focus on some more positive news, obviously, not this divisive garbage. So just give me a sec while I get things prepared for the next I get things prepared for the next story. I've got a couple other interesting little tidbits as well here. As soon as I get the right markers here. Oh, that is comic news. Like, up, I guess. Here we go. All right, then. There we go. So now let's start moving on to the next story here. This is an interesting one, particularly for some of the other history buffs in here, like myself. This is going to be an interesting story to look at. Um, so, historic court stamped Action Comics #7 hits the auction block. Okay, so that's the headline of this particular story. So, and I guess they're saying TLDR here, which it does seem to be a TLD. But anyways, Heritage Auctions is selling a Superman comic that was used as evidence in an important court case in comic history. So you can see the markings on it, I guess. Old school Superman comics always sell for a pretty penny at auctions. But this issue of Action Comics #7 has an extra special detail to make the price go up. It was used as evidence in a federal court case. Okay. Heritage Auctions is selling the issue, which at the time of this writing has 8 days left for purchase. In addition to being used as evidence in a court case, this issue is significant because it was the first time Action advertised Superman as its main attraction. Now, a little background here, guys. Superman from issue 1 has always been a part of Action Comics. In fact, I can tell you some of the main. Now, back when it first came out, cover date June 1938. I believe the actual on sale date was like April 18th, 1938. Action Comics was an anthology book. Okay, we now think of it, of course, as a feature book for Superman, but originally, like many comics back then, they started out as anthology books. So did Detective Comics. Okay, many of them started out as anthology titles that had numerous and among some of the first heroes in Action Comics, of course, include Superman, Zatara, um, John Zatara, the magician, and Tex Thompson. But we're talking, of course, about issue number 7 here. They're saying, this particular issue was used in a court case as well as being the first issue where Superman was actually the lead character, basically. Okay. Stamp on the comic reads U.S. District Court filed March 16, 1939. I believe that's Southern District of New York, and Exhibit 18, U.S. District Court, Southern District of New York, April 6, 1939. Over 80 years ago, this specific copy of Action Comics number 7 was entered into the federal court case Detective Comics Incorporated versus Bruns Publications Incorporated. The court case involved Superman versus a red and yellow knockoff called Wonder Man. By the end of the case, Superman was victorious and Wonder Man faded into obscurity. Not to be confused with the Marvel Comics character named Wonder Man. This character was created at Fox Publications. Victor Fox demanded that Will Eisner create a Superman knockoff, which made Eisner and Jerry Iger nervous. Now, for you guys who don't know this, Fox Publications, that was the company that originally gave us the Blue Beetle, gave us the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle back in the early 40s. Okay, in Mystery Man Comics. So a little bit of interesting comic history for you there with this, and I'll get to some other interesting tidbits of comic history as well with this, because this wasn't the only copyright case that Detective Comics was handling in the early to mid 40s, but this is one of them. So yeah, Fox Publications was the company that originally gave us the Blue Beetle. Eventually, of course, he became a DC property, like in the 80s, after it going through a number of other companies, including Charlton Comics in the 60s, that originally gave us the Ted Kord version, I believe. But anyways, by the time the court case judges ruled that the only real difference between the two characters was the colors on their uniforms. That's where the story kind of ends right there. Um, keep reading. The most powerful super is DB. Yeah. Oh wait, was there more to this here? Oh wait, no, that wasn't. No, I don't think there is anymore. But right, that was, I guess, a summation of that article. But yeah. So that was it for that story. Now, as I said, another interesting little tidbit about DC Comics at this time, of course, was this was not the only um, copyright infringement case they were handling because, and I've mentioned this one a few times too. They were also um, they were also going to court. Well, more in the 40s. This obviously 1939, but in the 40s they were involved in a copyright infringement case with Fawcett Comics over their Captain Marvel. Again, claiming that Captain Marvel, the Billy Batson version of Captain Marvel, okay, the Billy Batson version of Captain Marvel, um, was another Superman knockoff. DC was suing Fawcett Comics. They were suing CC Beck and Otto Binder, you know, and they were in litigation throughout the 40s until Fawcett finally went bankrupt in like 1953, eventually leading to, of course, um, DC Comics securing a number of the characters from Fawcett Comics, including Captain Marvel and the Marvel family, Ibis the Invincible, Spy Smasher, um, Bullet Man, Minute Man, number of these characters. And um, so, anyways, excuse me a moment when I go off screen here. Do you guys have any like comments on on that particular story? Somebody left us. Do you guys have anything want to say about that story, or have any questions, or ask ask or comment on? Okay, well, oh, here we go. That's DC trying to make everyone else's hero a knockoff. Well, yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason it took longer for them with Captain Marvel. I mean, in the case of with what was going on with Fox Publications, um, the judges determined that the only real difference was the it was the the color scheme of the costume. But with Captain Marvel, with Billy Batson, with Shazam and all that, there was more to it because, of course, Captain Marvel was endowed with powers from the gods, basically. I mean, the fact his transition word Shazam was an acronym for the seven deities who basically gave him his powers. If you've ever done any, if you've had a chance to look into, Captain Marvel and the Marvel family from Fawcett Comics and all that, S representing Solomon's wisdom, H representing, Hercules' strength. Um, I think the first A um, was Atlas's endurance. Z was Zeus's power. The second A was Achilles' courage, and then M was Mercury's speed. So, for the most part, the majority of them were like classic Greek heroes, but you had Solomon as in King Solomon from the Judeo-Christian mythos. So, so I think it was a little bit harder to prove that Captain Marvel was simply just a knockoff of Superman in that particular case. But then, in a way, any kind of like super strong, like near omnipotent being is gonna get compared to Superman. You know, um, anybody who has powers that make them near omnipotent, to what Superman was, is going to draw those comparisons. You know, um, so so with that, now I think I'll move on to the next story then. So 30, well, almost up to 36 minutes here. I guess we're making well, I guess we're making good or decent time here. Let me see now. Oh, yeah. Oh, why did I even? I didn't need to close that out because all I really needed to do this. So the last story I picked out for tonight, um, the last story I picked out for tonight is some shakeups going on at IDW. Some upper management shakeups. So here's the headline of the story: IDW names Disney publishing vet. Okay, I was reading Nachi earlier, but I guess it's Nachel or Nachle. Actually, maybe it is Nachi. Nachi Marsham as new publisher. Nachi Marsham, the former executive editor at Disney Publishing, has been named the new publisher of IDW Publishing and IDW Entertainment. And there's the picture of the guy. IDW Publishing and IDW Entertainment has named former Disney Publishing executive editor Nachi Marsham its new publisher. IDW has also promoted Veronica Brooks to the role of Vice President of Creative Affairs. Full press release can be found below. And then again, here's the picture of the you know, new executive editor, the new publisher. And then this is the picture of Veronica Brooks, the vice president of creative affairs. Official press release. IDW names new publisher and announces executive promotions across company. IDW Publishing appoints industry veteran Nachi Marsham as publisher. IDW Entertainment promotes Veronica Brooks to Vice President of Creative Affairs. From San Diego, Los Angeles County, basically today, September 1st, 2020. IDW Publishing and IDW Entertainment, subsidiaries of IDW Media Holdings Incorporated, announced today that industry veteran Nachi Marsham has been tapped as the company's new publisher. with Veronica Brooks being promoted to Vice President of Creative Affairs. Um, we're honored to have Nachi on board the IDW ship as he is a champion for novel storytelling and has an unequaled passion for this industry, said Ezra Rosensaft, um, IDW CEO. With Nachi at the publishing helm and Veronica stepping into a larger role within the company, our creators' strong catalog of beloved original content and our audience who trust us to continue to deliver great stories across screens and platforms are in the most capable hands. Let's see if you guys have anything to say here. Anything newer to say? I guess. I guess you guys are still just listening to the reports here. Okay. Um, Continuing on then. Um, Marsham brings nearly 25 years of industry experience to his new role at IDW, where he will be tasked with overseeing IDW publishing strategic business units, integrating product cross-platform programs, establishing product growth initiatives with partners, broadening customer experiences to new platforms, and expanding the company's extensive IP portfolio. Before joining IDW, Marsham was the executive editor at Disney Publishing Worldwide, where he oversaw editorial teams working with various creative divisions of the Walt Disney Company, working on books, including original working on books including original and extension content for the variety of franchises, um, and working on new IP development for best-selling series from Disney. Starting in 2018, he led the Marvel press imprint of Disney. He led the Marvel press imprint of Disney Publishing Worldwide, editing and providing creative direction for pros. This is a different meaning of the word PROSE. I believe means like verbal style, not prose like PROS, like numerous pro. You know the I can't even think of anyways, and picture books. In addition to asset creation for both the vertical publishing division and the licensed business. Prior to his time at Disney Publishing, he spent more than 8 years in editorial at DC Comics across a wide variety of titles and age ranges. Preceding his time at DC, Marsham spent years at Wizard Entertainment, holding various positions within the company. I wonder if Wizard Entertainment, that's a Wizard, like the Wizard World convention. I wonder if that's what they're talking about. Um, working collaboratively to create collaboratively to create powerful stories has always been my passion, said Marsham. IDW's new publisher, IDW is home to some of the most beloved IP in the business, and I couldn't be more excited to join them in furthering these stories and expanding their creative direction across all platforms. Now, give me a sec. I gotta step off. I gotta go. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Brooks steps up from senior director to VP of Creative Affairs, where she will work across IDW Entertainment and IDW Publishing alongside Marsham to develop strategy and home creative development for IDW's translation of their extensive IP library, as well as IP from new creators into TV, film, podcast, and digital media. Prior to IDW, Brooks was an independent producer and held roles at Ziff Davis, NBC Universal, and MTV. Uh oh. Uh oh. I hope they don't go in a particular direction for their sake. NBC Universal and MTV are known for being woke. She started her career in features and was associate producer on the films Just Like Heaven and 500 Days of Summer. I'm thrilled to be taking on new challenges and look forward to collaborating with Nachi and the rest of the team to continue um, to produce content that empowers, educate, and entertains. And Brooks, said Brooks, VP of Creative Affairs. Okay, so let me. What do you guys think of that situation? You think that maybe IDW should be worrying a little bit? Think a possibility of a woke movement. I don't know if IDW is already woke or not. I didn't heard too much. Granted, they're not as big as obviously as DC or Marvel. I think they're like number three, but still. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that with those people going into those positions that maybe IDW might be heading in a woke direction that might end up hurting them in or maybe they'll be in the same boat in a year or two that maybe DC and Marvel are finding themselves in now. And I'll give you guys a moment to think about that while I go off screen for a moment. Here, let's see if anybody said anything here. Like the ATC commented here. Laugh out loud, woke goes broke. Yeah, I mean, NBC Universal, which of course covers now I know Europe and Canada AGC, so I don't know how much you might be aware of this, but NBC Universal, of course, has not just the national broadcasting company, but they also have like MSNBC, which everybody knows is probably leftist, CNN's right behind them, but MSNBC in terms of the news side of it is way to the left. You know, yeah, very left leaning. So you know, so you have to wonder if with her being in that position and then, of course, Nazi coming over from Disney. Everybody knows that Disney is fairly left leaning, so you have to kind of wonder if IDW may be setting themselves up for failure there by trying to ride this woke movement. Even though you would think that you would think that they would see the problems with going woke. The saying woes get woke, go broke. Minutes there. I know that we lost somebody there. Yeah. Well, anyways, those are the main stories tonight. So, was there anything you guys wanted to ask me? Aside from the stories, is there anything you know, anything you guys wanted to talk about or ask me about? While you're thinking about that, I'm going to go off screen again for a moment. Sorry. Okay, back now. Oh, ADC, you're a little on the quiet side tonight. Haven't been commenting as much as usual. Of course, we know Anonetti's not here yet, as far as I know. Um, what about you, Woody? Are you still here? Uh, Not feeling my best. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What, you a little under the weather? A little under the weather, ATC? Yeah. You should, especially with some of the conditions you said you had, you should probably try to make sure you get your proper rest so you don't run yourself ragged. Depression. Oh, sorry to hear that. Everything go okay for you today? Or is it just something you don't want to talk about? And anybody else who's in here too, I see we got four people again. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to do so. Hmm, and back down to three people. It comes and goes. Yeah, I know. I kind of understand how you feel. I sometimes battle it, now and again too. Believe it or not, there are just some days when you don't have the you don't have the giddy up and go you have on other days. It's like it can be it can be frustrating sometimes. Oh, oh, anonymity's coming in to say hello. At work, got called back in, won't be in chat. Well, thank you for at least checking in, anonymity. As always, you know that I keep the streams up, so if you want to come back and check out the stream later, to get caught up on like the news items we talked about, you're more than welcome to. Um, so all right, well, so we're coming up on the hour mark. As I said, I always try to I usually try to aim for an hour and a half to 2 hours, but from the looks of it, it seems like a lot of people. I know Action Toy ATC. I know you're not feeling quite up to par right now, and MNT is not going to be in. So, what are you guys ready for the this day in niche history? Then I'll do that, and then I think I'll wrap this up early tonight. You guys ready for this day in niche history? I'm waiting for the answer. I'm going to go off screen. Yay, niche history. All right. I know it seems like kind of a slow night for everybody, so I'll go through niche history and then I guess I'll wrap up early tonight, so you guys maybe can get a little more rest. I know anonymity, you're at work, so um, as I said, you can always come back and check out the stream when you have some time. So let me just see some stuff here real quick. Find myself with some things here. 90, 2010, 2010, and 2011, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, without no further ado, let's. Today is the first day of September, 2020. So let's take a look back on what has happened on this day in Nietzsche history. Okay. First off, in the realm of professional wrestling, on this day in Nietzsche history, on a live broadcast of USWA Championship Wrestling on WMC TV in Memphis. Now, just in case you guys didn't know, USWA it stands for the United States Wrestling Association. It was basically the wrestling promotion that Jerry Lawler co-owned with Jerry Jarrett, the father of Jeff Jarrett. Okay, that's what USWA was. So on a live broadcast, the late Eddie Gilbert, attempts to run down Jerry Lawler in the parking lot outside the WMC studios. Lawler was trying to save USWA booker Eddie Marlin from a parking lot beatdown by Eddie and Doug Gilbert after Marlin had fired the Gilberts from the USWA and ejected them from the studio. When Eddie jumps into Doug's car, guns the motor, and runs into Lawler before driving off. Lawler escapes the attack with just a bruised hip, and I think you can find that clip actually on YouTube if you guys want to check that out. I think that clip is available on YouTube if you guys want to check that clip out. So anyways, let's see, enemy. Oh, okay, we actually already saw that. Okay, so here we go again then. So now the next bit of Nietzsche history to talk about here. Let's see. Which one shall I do? Okay, let's see. I think I'll do that one next. Yeah, that's the comic one. Okay. So we got actually a couple of things from 2010 to go over here. The first of which was on this date in 2010, 10 years ago, through their vertical imprint, DC Comics released the fifth issue of iZombie on this date in 2000. On this date in 2000, through their vertical imprint, DC Comics released the fifth issue of iZombie. The story, The Remains. As some of you may know, Vertigo was the imprint that was responsible for some of the more mature content that DC had before it was ran into the ground, as Yellow Flash had mentioned a time or two. So that's one of the things that happened on this date 10 years ago. And the other thing that happened on this date 10 years ago in 2010 was this. Child actress Eleanor Kamenek Cami King, at the age of 76, passed away on this date in 2010. She was, of course, she was known for portraying the role of Bonnie Blue Butler in Gone with the Wind, and also she provided the voice for Faline the fawn in the 1942 movie Bambi. So on this date in 2010, former child actress Cami King passed away at the age of 76. Known to most animation fans most as the voice of Feline the fawn in the 1942 Disney movie Bambi. She also portrayed the role of Bonnie Blue Butler in Gone with the Wind. So that's what you had right there. So that all happened. Of course, those two things happened in 2010. Now to the last bit of history on this date on this date in each history. Um, so on this date in each history, in 2011, which was 9 years ago today, um, the PSP game, the okay, so the PSP game Corpse Party Book of Shadows um, was released on this date in 2011. It was the sequel to I think it was a sequel to Corpse Party. It was part of the Corpse Party. So on this date in 2011, which was 9 years ago today, Corpse Party Book of Shadows was released on PSP. So that's all that happened on this date in that's how all that happened on this date in each history. So with that, guys, I know things are a little dragged a little bit tonight. So I know it would seem that some of you probably are not in the highest spirits. So I'm gonna wrap this up a little early tonight. Usually I try to stretch it to at least an hour and a half, but um, as there's not much more to talk about, I will I will bid you all a good night, and to those who need it, I hope that you can get some rest, get yourselves better, get the rest you need to come back stronger tomorrow. So I will bid you all a good night, and I will wrap the stream up early tonight. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this short stream. For those of you who would like, I keep my streams up. You can um, You got five. Yeah, I got five tonight, so that was good. That was good, ATC. I got five for a peak tonight. I've been getting five lately, so that's good to go. Anyways, I am going to wrap this up. I will see you guys tomorrow. Um, get some rest, and hopefully I'll have some more content for tomorrow. I'll find stuff to be able to give you a little bit more. So, anyways, bye.